So if you've ever been on the call with an I-type personality, this is usually somebody who's going to sell you on their way in. They talk a lot. They have a bunch of stuff. And a lot of people say, I got a little bit of I-type in me, right? But the exact same reason, the thing that makes them good at talking and envisioning and being that person that conquers and wins is the exact same thing that keeps them broken. It's the exact same thing that walks them out of the deal at the end of the call. So in this quick video, I'm going to show you how we hard close I-types, get them back in the pocket, reality check them, and show them that their exact same decision-making process and their impulsiveness is the same reason why they're not successful. By the end of this video, you'll never have to sit here again on another call with a 19-year-old who's saying, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it, I'm so excited. And then at the end of the call, it's, I don't have my LLC set up, I still kind of want to talk to my dad, but I'm still super bullish to do it. And then he ghosts you. If you're new to the channel, it's a new channel, so smash the subscribe button and let's get into the video.
Yeah, before we do dive too deep into the details, if you could kind of just give me like a 30,000-foot bird's eye view. You know, what are you currently doing for work right now? Are you already wholesaling? And mainly, what are you looking for help with?
Well, I'm already wholesaling, but I feel like the reason why, I done it the traditional way, sort of just doing like distressed houses and whatnot. And pretty much the issue that I've had with it is just like, I really dislike the, seller's motivation and whatnot, like emotional sellers. So like I understand that with wholesaling, I've done it myself. That's what I use for money now, because I'm also in college as well. But I really just wanted to switch transition to land, but I don't know like the freaking first thing about doing land. Like I can tell you everything about houses and whatnot, but I don't know the first thing about land.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, the best thing for us to do right now then is just kind of get a better understanding of where your current wholesaling business is, where like just like get a little bit more like an understanding of what you know and what we could potentially.
You seem a lot more comfortable now, Grayson. Like you're a lot more calmer. You're not like jumping. Your tonality is a lot like settled so much more. You're just like, yeah. Well, the first thing that we should probably do is just unpack the current wholesaling business before you're like, yeah. So like you'd be so much faster. You're a lot like slower now.
Help out with. So if you can, I guess, like how long ago did you actually start wholesaling?
About 8 months ago.
Okay, wholesaling for 8 months. And how many deals have you actually done in those 8 months?
3
deals. Okay.
Not shit.
So I mean, what have been like kind of the main roadblocks for you in terms of getting more consistent lead flow or getting just more deals done? Like when did you actually do those deals? Are those all like last month, or is that spaced out over the 8 months?
They've been spaced out. Like I was saying earlier, just like lack of. I guess I just have a bad problem with motivation. I guess taking the wrong leads.
Good reframe.
When you say you have an issue with motivation, finding sellers with motivating?
Yeah. So no, I've never had a mentorship in anything.
Objection prevention right here.
And so, I mean, did you just go out and actually just figure this out all out on your own, or have you had mentorship before?
No, I've never.
Good way to ask that.
Mentorship in anything. Just straight YouTube, ChatGPT, trial and error, a lot of mistakes.
Stuff way too high, and then go back to seller they don't want to be, and they find it. I can't blame them too because it's like unprofessional, overpromise something to someone. So I definitely think that was a big thing. Yep.
I'd say 4. That's being gracious. It could be 5, but
so you asked him how many he's gotten under that he's not been able to move forward. So he's had 7 contracts, and he's only got 3 of them to actually close.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then not been able to flip.
I want to say
that's a good question, Grace.
4.
You're getting a lot better, like a lot better, and it's just coming with the industry acumen. Like I can tell that like you're asking the deeper, better questions now. Like you're getting under the skin, and you're building the gap right there with. Okay, so you got 3, but how many have you actually gotten that you haven't been able to flip? And that just opened it up to show you like, damn. Not only is he only had 3 in the last 8 months, he's actually had 7, but over half of them haven't even gone through. That's more pain in itself, because now not only is this not working. This isn't working, and you're putting in a lot of inputs, and you're not like half of your inputs don't even result in anything.
Sort of before I even closed my first one, I think that was just a more amped up feeling. You know what I mean? Like you're so close, and like you're like, oh my gosh, someone actually wants to sell, and then you're just jumping into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, well, so I guess is that what part of the wholesaling process really feels like, I guess, the most unclear or kind of intimidating for you still at this point, even after having 3 deals done?
This is going to be a little bit, mostly, honestly, the title part. I've had some terrible.
What kind of prospect do you think he is on the disc rating, Grayson? DIC, what do you think he is?
Definitely I.
Yeah.
And
I'd say I also.
Yeah, I mean, mainly I, maybe a little bit of like C.
Yep, I would agree with you. I would kind of say he's, I haven't seen the whole call, definitely heavy I, but I can almost see that maybe even steady, because you can tell he's kind of like, he's very like mellow in a way. He's not very like, he's I-type, but he's very like mellow, and he's standing, and he's very honest. He's not feeding you some bullshit. He's like, honestly, I struggle with the title thing. And like, he's just being very open and kind of just giving you what you're asking him.
Relationships with title companies.
Versus I-types usually are like, well, I usually do this. And like, I'll get to the title company, and the title company do this. And then you'll ask him a question like, well, what's kind of the most intimidating? He's like, well, I don't really think there's really anything intimidating. It's just more so that they just like, there's so much. He's a little bit like more trolled.
Lack of communication between title companies. Like I've locked up decent deals, and then just title companies just like, which I'm pretty sure there's not much you can do about that, but find a better title company. But I guess that, and maybe then again, every once in a while I do.
So yeah, that's definitely one of the huge first steps. I can't believe you've done 3 deals with no LLC.
It's been very hard to explain solo into these sellers. So like most people we sell have like a company. I'm like, it's just me.
Okay. Well, yeah. Tell me a little bit more about like your actual.
Not any.
There it is right there. Yeah, so you might be right. SC cybersecurity. Yeah, bro. Doing cybersecurity. That's an analytical person right there.
Whatsoever. I mean, my background, like, I'm in college for cybersecurity. Like, I have no real estate experience, no nothing. Like I said, I just.
So, I mean, do you enjoy the cybersecurity like college degree that you're getting, or is it kind of like if you found this exit, like?
I think I was talking to my mom about this the other day, where if I could be consistent enough with it, I don't think I would do cybersecurity anymore. Not because cybersecurity is hard, but
Okay, so right here, the turnaround time I had to go through school, the time I graduated free, and there could be an AI already having my job. So I feel like real estate's the way to go in the long run.
I mean, I feel like wholesaling is the entry barrier
yeah.
for real estate. You save enough capital from it, you can pretty much do everything else in real estate.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I honestly like just being like very relatable. Like,
I'm gonna take a pause here and ask the room real quick. What do you guys know? What have you guys kind of thought about this call so far on a scale from 1 to 10?
I think he's debriefing him well. He's like very low key getting data points that he needs to get. And if just also the guy is I and S, so he's like comfortably giving the data. He doesn't feel like he's on alert or anything. So it feels like it's going smooth. How long is it? I can't really see. How long did the
I'm just kind of looking in the discovery. I usually will go over the pitch a little bit quicker, but I mean, the call is this. I'm probably gonna start skipping a little bit, but I just want to see what you guys thought. Because overall, like, I feel like the discovery has gone pretty good so far. Where do you pitch at?
total time was 70 minutes on the call, or 68 minutes. I'm probably pitching. There you go. I mean, 33. Sounds like you know you have.
What's up?
I'm probably pitching around like minute 35. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And so I mean that's obviously absolutely. I mean, do you know that? I mean, how much of like Will's stuff have you actually seen? Have you watched his YouTube channel? Have you watched like his live streams? And
I've been on a few live streams, and I think I watched like one video the other day. But I've been on a few live streams for a while. His videos always pop up on my For You page.
yeah, I mean, very obviously it gets the right people in because I mean he is a developer himself. Like that's where he got started doing this 4 to 5 years ago, just flipping vacant land, and now 5 years later he is a 9-figure real estate developer. So, I mean, he did $180 million in projects just last year alone, which is pretty absurd for a 5-year timeline. And so he always gets super excited to meet new people, especially when they want to kind of go more on that development route, like go from land flipping and development, because that's exactly what he teaches. Like,
pause right here. So the way you said is good, but you see how long the monologue is? What I would say right here is, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, the algorithm does the work, right? Ha ha. And obviously, if you know anything about his background, which it sounds like you've been on a couple of live streams, he did 180 million in project last year, which alone, is pretty absurd in a 5-year timeline. And tie it kind of back. You kind of mentioned that like this was that entry level to real estate. I guess outside of like getting some assistance, figuring out how this could potentially be better than what you're currently doing right now. Is there any hope or any like thought in your mind of maybe potentially going down the same route as him in the long term? Like, is that another thing that might even be interesting to you? Like actually learning how to become a developer and build houses. And of course he's going to say yes. That's just real quick on here. It's not the end of the world, but like instead of saying all this, you could have tied back to what he said in the discovery earlier. Cause like he basically is saying like, he said it earlier. It's like real estate's kind of the end goal. This is kind of the stepping stone into it. So with a guy like this, since he's in market, I'm not like very similar to like high ticket sales reps, right? For example, like F money in here, bro. So this guy's already made money in high ticket sales. He's already been on here, yada, 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 all this type of stuff. So when you're selling to someone a little bit more in market, you got to kind of sell them a little bit more, a couple steps ahead of restarting flipping land. Like I'm going to sell this guy on the fact of like, this is a better model, step 1, right? A model that you can take with what you're currently doing, same skill set, same everything, flip it and get a more return with this. But the truth is, and me and you both know it, this is just the stepping stone into doing something bigger. So I guess my question for you more than anything is that actually something that interests you turning into building homes or developing, or are you kind of just more so the type of guy that just kind of wants to get in and make money flipping land? And he's like, no, I want to be the guy that builds properties and shit like that.
Yeah.
Urgency question, like trying to get him to realize like this isn't just going to be something where he, and I wonder, I'm going to see what happened with the temp check and the objections and all that type of stuff. But that's an urgency based question that's going to get somebody to think, oh shit. Very similar when I come in and I'm like, yeah, I'll help you guys with sales and get on a good offer. But like what happens after a year to 2 years of you doing this? You guys want to start a sales agency, become a sales manager? That's where my value comes in. And that's where Will's value comes in for sure. Because he can actually help them get to that point.
I'd rather go freaking 90 days of learning as much information as I can rather than jump into it and get like not even know what I'm doing really. Like not knowing how to do it myself. I'm constantly getting my hand held. I'd rather add more of a knowledge aspect of it.
Also, another thing, you agree a lot. Like, look, one pattern that I'm seeing. Let me go up here a little bit. Look, listen to this. Ready? I want everybody to listen to this.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And so, I mean, absolutely. I mean,
you hear that? You agree with him too much. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 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 You set it up here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so
you sound unsure a little bit. Like every single one of the sentences you're sounding like a little unsure. That's like one thing that I've kind of noticed a couple of times.
Okay. So yeah, that's definitely like one of the big.
Like it's very agreeant every time. Okay, yeah. So okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Like if you notice that it's like that's a pattern that I've noticed, just kind of like not just watching this one, but just in general, where it's like there's a way where you can just keep pushing without agreeing so much. So like let me just use an example. Let's see if I can find one. I've had some deals fall through last week where the seller just actually, the property, my grandpa, mother blew up the house, can't let go. I don't blame because the house is sort of frustrating to a certain extent. That's happened multiple times. I'm not just saying for one case, that's happened a lot. A lot? A lot? Instead of saying all this, a lot, what do you mean? How do you mean by that? And he's like, and then he just keeps digging and probing and selling himself the pain with you saying less words. Because one thing I see a lot when I'm kind of reviewing some of your calls is like the monologue and the talk time. Like, look how much talk time is here. Really good closers don't really say that much. They don't really talk too much. If you ever get like someone from like maybe Kurt Udale's program that I've seen or some other people that kind of sell very similar to me, they just listen and then they just push. So like, let's use another example. Like, I mean, I've had issues locking up stuff that doesn't make sense. And it'd be foolish for not me to freaking train on, especially if I'm going to switch into a different niche because like I said, I don't really know anything. Like I'm going to really assume sort of same way, but at the same time, I still don't know. Yeah, you kind of sound uncertain. Like it's like, I would just be like, yeah, you kind of sound uncertain. Where's that kind of coming from? Like, because you obviously have gotten some of the deals, but like you sound a little uncertain, not just like with us or with whatever you're talking about, just in the whole process in general. Like, where do you kind of feel like there's a disconnect? Because you've obviously got some deals to the closing table. You've seen the proof. Very similar if I'm selling in market. You've seen the proof. You've closed the deal. You've closed the deal. So where's the disconnect? And I'm just going to kind of start digging on that and like finding where the disconnect is. I mean, I still think that this is a good, I don't think that there's anything like super bad about this discovery. Just a couple of small things that I noticed. Now let's go in here real quick.
On the freaking cold call people, get freaking cursed out rather than the current situation. So I feel like a lot of people should capitalize on
the reason why I'm saying to do that there is because the discovery.
Absolutely. Like Sean.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so
you see that? The thing is, Grayson, you're doing a good job getting comfortable going deeper in the discovery. But now I think really what we need to focus on, and this is good. This is what I want to see. But I think we need to focus on is, okay, we can shorten the discovery a little bit because it's getting a little too long now. Like these calls are going like, and it's because you're doing such a good job being with them and really trying to understand them. Now I want to focus on, okay, you understand, you already know what their problem is. You need to just like, let's shorten this. Let's find a way to not go on these monologues like this and reiterate everything that he's saying. When someone can say,
whether they don't feel like learning, I think you should just jump into it because the amount of lessons you have compared to other people is tremendous.
What is he talking about?
Freaking cold call people, whether they don't feel like learning, I think you should just.
What is he talking about here? See what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about?
Oh yeah, we're talking about investing in yourself rather than like investing into like a done for you business. Like learning the skill set yourself is much more important.
Whether they don't feel like learning, I think they should. You should just jump right into it because the amount of blessing you have compared to other people is tremendous. Are you that type of guy? Is that the type of guy you are? And he's like, yeah, I'm that type of guy. Cool. So when you give me an objection later, like what he gave you, I'd be like, remember earlier whenever we talked about the blessings and everything? Do you see what you're doing right now? You're choosing the uncomfortable path, or you're leaning into what's uncomfortable. You're a minute ago before we talked money, you were the type, and this is why I'm telling you, this is how you sell to I-types, by the way, for everybody on this call. I-types will feel like the easiest sale ever until you drop the price. Because they sell themselves the whole entire way into it. And then whenever you drop the price, they sell themselves outside of it. I'm going to say this one more time real quick. With I-type prospects, they sell you the entire call with them. Oh, I'm the type of guy where the motivational, I think people should jump right into it. Let's do it. Influential, that's that I-type. Then when you present price, they're that exact same charismatic, influential energy is the exact same shit that they present to you guys whenever they sell you guys the idea of why they can't do it. Whether it's, I just really need to talk to my dad, but I am the type of guy that make decisions and do shit. No, they're not. They're not the type of guy that do that. They're not. And so with I-type, that's why for me, because I'm very D-type, I can close I-types very well. It's because like the whole call when they're very animated and like they're just talk, I ask less questions that have like harder weight to the question. I'm like, are you that type of guy? Is that the type of guy that you are? Why? Where did you get those characteristics from? Because they're I-type. They want to tell you, oh, my dad kind of, raised, actually, I didn't really even have a dad, or my dad raised me this type of way, and I kind of saw what he did, and he took a lot of big risk, and I've just kind of always been that natural entrepreneur, and they're so animated, right? And it's like, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, also on the contrary, there's a lot of people who have had successful family members that have never really amounted to anything. I guess what makes you think that like the people who have like successful dads also become successful versus, or you can even flip the script, the people who like don't have a successful family, what do you think actually makes them successful? And he's like, probably just the nature of like getting it out the mud. Is that the type of guy that is that what you've kind of had to go through? Especially you mentioned college a couple of times. Like, are you kind of putting yourself through university as well? Are you the one that's trying to put food on the plate for your family? Is that you? And he's like, that's me. It's like, great. Whenever you give me an objection, I'm gonna fuck you up now because you just gave me that. Because when you tell me that you're that type of guy for your family, when you give me an objection, I'm gonna be like, is this how you're gonna make decisions? Because these type of decisions are gonna be the thing that keeps your family stuck. And you told me earlier that you were the type of guy that makes decisions for your family. So do you see how you running right now, telling me that you need to think about it, which we both know is not a real objection? Do you see how that's affecting not only you, but your decision making process is affecting your family? Do you see that with that tonality? That's how you close eye type. You have to hard close eye type because they'll just sell themselves off of it, or they'll sell themselves just in it. And that's cool. Great. You get easy close, but I'm not going to prepare you for the easy closes because it's not always going to come.
That was like one of the issues though, that I did like ask him like I tried to get like cost of inaction basically, or like why he's actually doing this. And realistically he said like he doesn't have like his college is taken care of, he's on full scholarships. He doesn't really have any bills that he needs to pay on a month to month. Like he said there was just a lot of comfortability surrounding. And then I was like, okay, so I mean, what happens if, 3, 6, 12 months go by and you're still just dealing with inconsistent lead flow? And he was just like, that's just an inevitability, or like that would just never happen because I'm the type, like I wouldn't let that happen. I would change something before that happens in 12 months from now.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
then,
Now, fair enough, Grayson. But if we actually look at the inputs versus the outputs, you say you've been doing this for how long?
8 months,
And how much money have you made
like 35 grand
on 3 deals that you've closed?
on 3 deals.
Okay. And like, is that, you said like college is taking care of everything's good. Like, is 35 grand in 8 months? What is that? If we do some math, 32 divided by 8 is what, 4? So we're looking at what, $4,000 a month? Around 4,000, 4,200, 4,300 a month? Is that like,
Yeah.
is that like enough? Like, you can be honest with me, Gracie, because like for most people that might be enough. But I mean, like, is that like, do you feel like you could have done more if you had a better system? Do you feel like you could have done more than that in the 8 months?
Yeah, and I want to do more than that.
Well, then I wouldn't even sit here and say that it's a matter of like, oh, or is everything comfortable? If anything, if everything's comfortable, that's good. That means you can take bigger swings. Like if my bills were covered, I didn't have a tech stack, I didn't have payroll, I didn't have all this shit, I'd be fucking swinging way bigger right now. But I have to mitigate my risk. You're sitting here telling me you don't have risk. So why not swing big now?
Yeah, and then I was like, we kind of got there. I was like, okay, so like, is there anything actually preventing you? Like, if your bosses are checked, are we going to do this today? Like, this is the right call for you? And he was like, yeah, well, the only thing that would kind of prevent me is, then he gave me some BS about his LLC not being open. He's like, like my dad told me I needed to wait till my LLC is open before I make any actual big changes currently.
Okay.
Then,
so,
yeah.
well, let me ask you, in terms of getting the LLC taken care of, where are we at with that?
Tomorrow, it's going to be done tomorrow.
Like, so what's been the process though? Walk me through. Where did you get it from? Now I'm going to probe here to see if he's bullshitting me or not. Where did you get it from?
Yeah, so I mean, just the state website that I'm in.
Okay, like you already filled out the form. Which one did you knock out? Which form was it? Is it the?
Not particularly sure, but I know I
That's what I would do. Which form is it?
ago.
Because it's the SS4 form. I already know what it is. It's the SS4 form. That's the LLC form. You have to fill out an SS form and send it to the IRS to get a business. So I'm just gonna ask, like, if he's like, oh, I got it from the state, I'm gonna be like, what was the? You get the? It was the SS. What was it? The SS. I know what it is. And he's like, I'd have to double check on that. I'm gonna be like, you said you're getting it tomorrow? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you don't know the form that you submitted to get it? When did you submit it? He's like a week and a half ago. And I'll be completely honest with you. If that, like, if I'm not gonna get over that objection there, like if I probe there and do that and do this, and like he keeps giving me pushback, then I'm be like, great. So you want to meet tomorrow when you get it formed? I'm not gonna go price drop because I'm not gonna be in a rush. Like, why would I be in a rush? Why would I rush it? If I know that I'm not gonna get over the urgency objection that he will give me, and you can see the result of what happened when he told you, oh, I'll be right back, never comes back. You already know what the outcome's gonna be. So why rush it? The reason why like Domina closes really good for me is because I teach her how to do shit like this, where I'm like, hey, just don't rush the deal. It's not like you drop price. All you've talked is good shit to him this entire time and got him bought in. You guys had a great first call. So it's like, cool. When is that LLC going to be done? And he's like, it'll be done tomorrow and everything like that. Cool. So I got some time tomorrow before we kind of like jump into everything we got here. Like, I just want to make sure that we're in the position to move whenever we're ready. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything we do and go through all of our different options and tier, all that crazy shit. If like, we're not going to get a decision today, I want to make sure that we're in the position to where like, if it is what you're looking for, we can move. That's really it. Because for me to you, like, we're already 35 minutes into the call and you're saying like, I can't make a decision today. I got a call here in 20 minutes. No need to rush it, right? Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? Why rush it? Why rush it? Why not just meet tomorrow? It actually works better for me anyway. Just book it in for tomorrow. Follow up. And then now just don't ever put yourself in a position where you're not going to get over the urgency objection. It's your call.
Yeah.
I would much rather you nurture the call, and and I'll put it this way, he would much rather you do it too. It's not just for you closing the deal, it's also for him. If he's not going to make a decision that day and he's going to feel rushed, that's exactly what happened to me one time when I told somebody, because like I mentioned, I'm D with a little bit of I. I told somebody on a call, I gave him an objection. I said, I'm in Tulum right now. And this was total smokescreen, by the way. Like I totally bullshit the guy. I'm in Tulum right now. So before we go through all the options and shit like that, I want to be back in the States. So I'm back at my desk, back locked in, kind of on vacation right now. So if we go through all the options, I'm not going to make a decision today, but we can still go through it. I told him, I was like, I know you're a sales guy. So like, I'm a sales guy as well. I don't want to give you a bullshit objection. And you know what he did? He's like, no worries. We'll book it when you get back in the States. That's exactly what he did. He booked it right when I booked it for me right when I was back in the States. I didn't close though. He sucked at objection handling. I didn't close. It was overpriced too. Like it was like, I thought that it would be like $4,000. And it was like 12. I was like, yeah, I told him straight up on the call. I was like, yeah, bro, that's not going to work for me. It's like I can take that 12 grand, put it in paid ads and get what I need. And I probably would spend at max $2 to $3,000 to do it myself. So I'm good. And he was just like, all right. So he just sucked at like overcoming my objection. But dude, if you're not going to get over the urgency objection, don't do it. I still think there would have been a way to do it. I think if we probed on it a little bit harder and got all of that in, we could have. But like, I do want to let you know, moving forward, just don't do it.
Okay. I mean, the main thing I went there, I was just like, you've done 3 deals already. Nothing that we're doing is changing. Like nothing in terms of like market analysis, implementation, learning everything about this is changing anything to do with legal business entities. Yeah. So it's like, so is there any actual reason that, you know, if this was checking your boxes that you wouldn't want to move forward? And so I think that's where we ended up in the temp check. Like I think we moved past that in the temp check.
Oh, you didn't really like do it? You kind of just asked that?
Well, so I kind of hit on it before pitching, and then I was like, look, there's not really any reason to not do this because of an LLC. And so I was like, so we're just gonna jump in the pitch, show you what we got. And then when we temp checked, I think it either came back up in temp check or objection handling. But like I got over the LLC one. He was theoretically, and then it was just the dad objection.
So he's like, what, I want to talk to my dad?
Yeah, he was just like, the guy's 19 years old. He's like, I haven't really made huge business decisions without talking to my dad. He's my number one moral support kind of guy. So I just run things by him.
Now so there was one guy, I didn't close him. I'll never forget this guy that was in agency lab. It was this young guy, jumped on, talked to him, asked about the decision makers, asked about all that. And he told me, he was like, I don't make any decisions without my dad or LLC, whatever the urgency thing was. I can't remember if it was in the beginning of the call or if it was right at that urgency checkpoint that I'm talking about to you here. So I ended up telling him, great, when is your dad free? So my dad gets off work at 6, ended up booking the call at like 6:30, jumped on with his dad and like went through the pitch and everything we did with the dad. And then there were some objections. I overcame them. It was more so clarity. And then I didn't get the decision that night. We book another call. Now there's dad and mom, because it was a really big decision. It was literally like, we saved up money for him to go to college and mom wants him to go to college. He doesn't want to go to college. And dad was like 50-50. And my job is to like swing mom over to like, hey, your son is not going to go to college. Like that was like I had to get over that. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. But I'll never forget that deal, because it was like a 3-part deal. And the dad ended up texting me like afterwards. And he was like, hey, I'll just keep it super straight up with you. I don't think mom's going to bite on it. I appreciate all your efforts. If it was my decision and she wasn't here, we would do it 1,000%. I just don't think she'll get behind it. And the reason why I say that is like, if I push that kid to make a decision and drop price and all that, I wouldn't have even had the conversation with the dad, nor would I have ever gotten the conversation with the mom. So it's like, if you're going to get those objections, you might as well work them in your favor and focus on, because here's the way I look at it. If I'm a high performing sales rep, I'm going to take that call, get to that point, book that in, throw over some trust assets beforehand. And then I'm going to go back and focus on what's in the pipeline that's ready to move forward today. I'm not going to try to force some urgency that's not going to happen today. And a lot of other sales guys, gurus online will tell you any differently. Those are the same people that fake role play with their friends and overcome fake objections and post that as shorts. Real sales, there's a little bit more development that needs to go on. And so if you're going to get that, obviously I'm not saying lay it up for a follow-up, push. But if you are genuinely sitting in the seat and you are making that executive decision of the last 4 times I tried to push this and it just doesn't work, you're better off focusing on the deals or following other people that do, and then giving him what he wants a little bit. Just give him what he wants a little bit. Challenge. I'm not saying don't challenge. But if the guy's sitting here saying, I'm not going to make a decision unless I have my LLC and I'm not this and that, it's like you're making the sales process so hard on yourself. And you're building a lot of sales resistance doing it, because like he's told you like, I need to get my LLC. I want to run things about my dad. And you're basically like, you don't need to do that. You need to make a decision now. You don't need to do that. You need to make a decision. And like, they're not going to do it. You could be a very, very, very talented closer. They're probably just not going to do it, bro. They're not.
So Blake, with these kind of prospects or situations, just to recap, you would just say, hey, make the call, drop it, and focus on ones in the pipeline that are a bit.
It's right here. If you can't If you can't transition properly to the pitch, you will never close them. Because you can reinstate them, you can label them, you can do all that, you can confirm their desired outcome, yada, yada, yada. But if you can't establish the urgency, they're not going to do it. And that's where you got stuck at. In the process, if you look at it in chronological order, it was right here. We didn't get over this. And that was the reason why you were basically doing it for like this whole time, is you were trying to label before pitching. You were trying to get the buy-in. You were trying. Like, I see it here. It's just the truth is, like, it's basically just like in temp check. And I would even almost argue objection handling. And you probably heard it before, but there's a thing called looping.
Yeah.
When you just keep looping.
Yeah.
And we call it the consultative follow-up. This is kind of what it is. Only for logistical objections. This is for a case where prospects literally cannot buy now, loans, missing a decision maker, etc. So this usually comes towards the end in objection handling, but it's like what happened was we just keep looping. And then it's just like it starts to build up the sales resistance versus if the guy's getting on the phone and you challenge the objection of making a decision and you shadow the limiting belief and you can get over it, which you can do a lot of times, that's one thing. But if you're looping, you are noticing as a sales rep, we're looping here. It's probably best to try and do that. Be like, hey, so look, man, like genuinely for me to you, like I'm not going to press you to make any decision because it sounds to me that you said it like 2 or 3 times. There's a lot that's in limbo. You got this LLC thing that's coming in like the next day. You got your dad that like kind of helps you make all these different decisions. Like, don't you feel, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, don't you feel like it'd be more efficient to like, you're interested in this, like you're not 100% bought in, but you're interested. Why don't we just find a time, you get the LLC, you get your dad on the call, and we handle all this shit? Because your dad's probably gonna have a ton of questions. You're probably gonna have a ton more questions. Why don't we just handle it all on one call? So then when you guys get off, both of y'all are on the same page on whether it's not what you guess want to do together. Don't you feel like that'd be more efficient? Framing it in their best way. And he's like, yeah, I think that would actually be a really like good idea. Versus loop, press. Oh, hey, talk to your dad and let's do it. And then he ghosts you because you built up too much sales resistance. That's why it ghosted you.
And then internally in your own like state and how you receive this, you would like hang up the call. Internally, what's your like feeling about it? You're like, okay, I nurtured this, or like I laid it up for the next time, or what?
I book in the follow-up and I just hold him to the follow-up. Like I book him for a follow-up within a 24-hour. Like if he's telling like what he told Grayson, oh, my LLC gonna be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be like, okay, like I'm gonna press. And if I find out that he's just blowing me a smokescreen, which he very much could have been doing here, then I'm gonna do probably what Grayson did. And I'm gonna sit there and be like, what's the difference? You waiting for a business credit card to put it on or something? Like how is getting an LLC make the decision easier? Is it like you're waiting for a business credit card so you can put it on? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, good thing is like with accountants and shit, like you don't need a business credit card. You can just log it as a business expense. So is it really just the business thing or is there anything else with the LLC? And then he goes, oh, well, it's just kind of what my dad told me to do. And I'm like, oh, is your dad helping you with decisions like this? And he goes, I run everything by my dad before I make a decision. Where's your dad? Because you're not going to get the close. It's literally the spouse objection. That's what people don't understand about partnership.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's just like partner objection.
Dude, it's everybody sits there and shows the reframe of how to get over the partner objection. The best way to get over the partner objection in terms of not burning yourself out to death is getting the partner on the call. That's the best way to win the partner objection is get them on the call because you're going to get to the end of the call. They're going to give you the partner objection because that's not something that you overcame because it's an urgency objection. That's really what it is, or a fear. It's one of those two. It's not a trust. It's a fear and urgency. And they're going to smoke screen it the whole time. And the truth is like, come on, keep it above. Every time I've said I need to go run something with my partner, I never go run it by them. I never do, or I hardly ever do. I already have the decision made up in my mind. I'm either going and selling my partner on doing it with me, but I never go to my partner for support on making the decision.
Yeah, no, probably not. Yeah.
And that's what I would say.
Yeah.
The only way that I've found to get over the partner objection is saying that right, exactly like what I just said. I'll be like, when you're going to ask your partner, is it more for permission or reinforcement? Like, are you asking them for permission to do it, or are you asking them for like their reinforcement on this is a good decision? Because that will tell you right there what the objection is.
Which one? Yeah. And then you can just reframe if it's permission, and if it's support, then you can just,
Yeah, if they say it's for reinforcement, well, the thing is, not a lot of people will never say that. But no one ever will really say, oh, no one's ever going to come out and say, my bad, let me flip it. No one's ever going to come out and say, oh, I'm asking them for permission to make a decision. No one's ever going to say that. They always say they always will beat around the bush of it's reinforcement. They're trying to get reinforcement that this is a good decision because they're scared of it not working out and looking like a failure. That's what you guys need to understand about the partner objection. It's not really for permission. It's always for, hey, if I put my credit card down, I don't talk to my wife about it. And then I, as the individual, can't make this work. Now my wife is going to look at me like a loser. It's for security. That's what the objection is. And that's what I tell people when they tell me that. They're like, no, I kind of like to run things by my wife and do this and that. All these other guys have all these different reframes of like, oh, like are you the man that kind of makes a decision for your family? And they're like, he's like, yeah. And they're like, well, if your wife was here, what do you think she would say? He's like, I don't know. She's not here. That's why I want to go run it by her. And you get nowhere with that. Versus if someone tells me that it's for, they only want to run things by her, I just ask that stuff be put. I'm like, well, dude, like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I have a partner myself. And more times than not, like when I am on a situation like where you're at right now, and I tell somebody like I need to go run it by my wife, I never really run it by her. I'm more so looking for the reinforcement of it being a good decision. Because me and you both know, like, no one wants to fail. No one wants to put money in something, especially something that they're investing in themselves, and fail. So when you're going out to your wife to ask, you obviously have the money because you said you have it. Is it more so a thing of you're like, you kind of want to say like, hey, baby girl, like I'm going to do this. And if it doesn't work, don't be mad at me. Or like what is it? Like, what's kind of the thing you're going to go run by her? Or is it more so you're sitting in the seat right now, and you could be honest with me, Grayson. You can be honest with me. You're kind of sitting in the seat right now and you're like, I kind of want to do it, but I kind of don't because it's a little scary. What is it? And you see what they give you and you go from there. Because it is the second one. It's more times than not, it's just fear, bro. It's fear. Because if someone said that to me, I'd be like, and I'd be like, I mean, bro, it's money, you know? And it just depends on how good they are at reframing my mindset around it.
And can we take a look at the post?
Yeah.
Check about minute 49, I think it.
Yeah, so I think that I'm in the same myself. That like my father is a part of like a lot of stuff I do, not in like a sense of where I need to constantly be guarded by him, but sort of like he's just like, you know, you're my go-to guy
Absolutely.
for advice. So like I'll definitely like I'll have to save your number and I'm gonna have lunch with him. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna do it right now. And I mean, realistically, the thing about it is, a grown person, he can't really do anything.
Once again, I want to try to note this for everybody watching. I told you this earlier. I-types are going to sell you on why they'll do it the whole call. And look, he's selling you off of it right now. This is what he's doing.
Yeah.
Prevent me from doing it, but I think it'll help understand and just to do that. I don't know if that's okay. If like I don't necessarily close now and I call you back in like 3 hours and then I close.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally fair. And I respect that, especially just, you know, your father's.
All right, pause real quick before you say this. One thing I'd say right here, he's like, I don't know if that's okay. Like, I necessarily close now and I'll call you back in like 3 hours and then close. Instead of that, I just be like, well, dude, like if you're not in the position to jump into it, don't call me back and close. Because once again, like I said, he's selling you off of doing it, whether or not you understand it or not. I'm telling you that's what he's doing. So then I'm going to indirectly sell him off doing it and be like, well, like, I mean, transparently for me to you, bro, like I don't want you to call me back and close. I don't care about you closing. I care about this being the best decision for you. So, I mean, I'm trying to kind of get a little bit of understanding here with your dad and this, because I mean, listen to what you just said. You're like, not in the sense where I need to be consistently guarded by him, but he's like my go-to guy for advice. Do you think that it would be more valuable for you to go to your dad and say, yo, dad, here's what I just bought. Here's the decision that I just made. I want to give you advice I want to ask for kind of advice while I'm learning and going through some of the stuff. Or do you think it's best to ask your dad for advice when he's never even done this ever? Because that's like me going and asking for someone for advice that like on how to drive a, you know, sports car, Ferrari. And like I've driven a Honda my whole life. Like he's just only going to give me Ferrari advice. Your dad has never flipped land. So yeah, he can give you the pat on the shoulder, go get him, bud. And like, put your head down and grind. But other than that, what tactical advice is your dad realistically going to give you about flipping land that we couldn't? Ooh, got you, bitch. Got your ass. Now I got your ass. That's what I'm saying. Because he's selling you off it. So I would, with the I-type people, like look at his, he's not even looking. He's animated. Look at his hands. He's like, he's just like, he's scared. He's scared. And you got to like kind of comfort that scared him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I went into this call and I explained over the call how I want knowledge from it. And it seems like the program itself has a bunch of knowledge to present to me.
Okay.
I think just for fun effect, he's mirroring you now, and he's saying, yeah, absolutely. So you've influenced him on the call.
Yeah, what you would have said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And it's just about like feeling aligned.
I think I trust myself enough to make like certain business aspect calls and whatnot.
I just can't really describe it. It's a sort of sense. I make my own decisions. Like I make my own. No, he doesn't. It's fear. It's fear. That's what it is. Like literally look at what he's saying. I don't know. Like I trust myself enough to make like certain business aspect calls, whatnot. I just can't really describe it because it's sort of like sense. Like I make my own decisions. Like I make my own. Bro, it's just, he's just looping in his brain. This is what his brain's doing. Wow. He's just fucking looping, bro. It's just a kind of thing. It's more like a relief thing. It's fear. To talk about all the stuff you're doing or think about dating, that sort of relationship me and my father have. He tells me what I can and can't do. It's sort of like I go to him, I say I'm going to do this, and then we'll have a conversation about it, and he'll make sure he'll be real passionate about it. He's like, something you really want to do. Dude, it's certainty. That's all I would say. Dude, I would cut him off. Yo, real quick. Look, and you're like this.
So and I totally respect that, just like out of curiosity. I mean, if you go to your dad today and I ask him,
you're digging the wrong way. All you have to do is say, dude, you're just looking for certainty. That's all you say. And you say it with a downward tonality. Dude, you're just looking for certainty. You just looped in your own brain. Can I just permission to speak freely, Grayson? Verbatim, you said, I trust myself enough to make certain business decisions. I make the decisions, but I go to my dad for relief. If that's not the biggest fear objection I've ever heard, that's fear, brother. I would just tell him that. I'd be like, brother, that's such a fear objection. Like, you know it. This is a thing that, like, bro, this is the reason why I love selling, is because the reason why I feel like it's always been difficult for me to teach people at the highest level how I sell is because I literally just say that. I'm like, dude, that is such a fear objection. Is that not? And I smile. I'm like, dude, that is such a fear objection. You just looped in your own mind. You just said, like, I want to do it. I make my own decisions, but I go to my dad for relief. Keyword, relief. That's like me saying, oh, I make my own certain decisions. I do this, I do that. But I'm going to go to my girl, and she's going to give me relief. And she's going to say, you can do it, Blakey. But the truth is, I always knew I could do it. I'm just looking for support because I know that I'm betting on myself. And if I fail, I'm going to be the one that loses money, and I'm going to be the one that looks like an idiot. So I'm going to search in all these different pockets of, oh, tell me, Blake, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're never going to know until you do it. And you can sit here and tell me you're going to talk to dad and this and that, but me and you both know that it's fear. Whether you want to admit it on this call or not, it is. I've been on enough of these calls. And you are the same exact type of guy that's led you to jumping in and making a little bit of money with this and being the type of I-type influential person that thinks you make your own decisions is going to be the same type of influential person that walks you out of this decision. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. So you can sit here and tell me it's your dad, but brother, it's going to come down to your decision because you're the man here. You saved up the money. Is it better to go to your dad and say, Dad, this is a decision that I made here. I'm going to figure this out. And I would love your advice as I'm figuring it out. Or Dad, tell me everything's going to be okay. What kind of man are you? What kind of man do you want to be? Because I know what type of guy you are. I know what type of guy you are. You're the first type, but it's going to come down to you making that hard decision. So if you want to sit here and you want to tell me you're going to talk to your dad, totally fine. You can loop with me here in a minute, but I know the real thing. But if you want to have a conversation about how we can make this feasible and talk about getting you in, we can have a conversation about that. You just tell me which direction you want to go. Because like I mentioned, he's I-type. I'm going to sell him off it. You tell me which direction you want to go. And he's going to start selling me back into it. Well, what do you mean by that? He's going to come. What do you mean by making it feasible? What do you mean by boom? Now I got your ass. Because now you're going to start selling yourself back into me. And I'm not going to let you go from that point. Like I'm going to get something, whether I frame it in his best interest and I split the payment up by 2 to make him feel a little bit, it doesn't matter. I'm getting a close. That's the difference. That's the biggest thing with me, guys. I'll be honest. Like I would say that I don't know how to put this. I probably wasn't the most skilled reframe objection thing closer in the world, but I always closed. So what I mean by that is like my close rate was always over like 50% and I would get something. Like if it was like, oh, I got to get this guy, some guys might push and push and push and push and push and push and push, and then they get the piff. I'm more the type of guy, like we're going to loop a couple times. And the second that guy starts giving me buy-in, I'm going to maybe pay him 2 payments to 2,500, even if I know he's got the bread, just because I'm trying to close and get to the next call. I'm trying to close, get my money, and I'm jumping on the next one, closing again, get my money, jumping on the next one, because I know that I'm going to get the residual next month. So in my mind, I'm like, bro, I'm going to go squeeze this guy for 2,500 now. I'm going to go squeeze the next guy for 2,500 now. I'm going to get somebody where I can push and push and push and piff. But like, I'm a sales rep. I'm trying to make $1,000 a day. I'm not trying to sit around with this guy, miss my next 3 calls because I'm looping, trying to get him for everything he's got. When the truth is, like, I know it's a fear thing. So how am I going to mitigate fear? Mitigate risk. How am I going to mitigate risk? Break up a payment. But I'm not framing up the breaking up of the payment as a logistical thing. I'm framing the break up of the payment of, hey, we've accepted the fact that there's some risk involved. So this is the way that I'm going to ease that risk for you while also keeping you financially committed to doing shit and taking action today. And that's how I always would close people. Even if I knew that they had it, it's just this guy. Now all of a sudden that full investment, you got him back in and now he's feeling like he can kind of get in with a little bit of half. It makes the deal a little bit more sweet. He's like, all right, I'm kind of getting a deal here. Like he hears me out, he feels me, and he's making a deal happen for me. And that's how I'm going to get that guy to make a decision today within an hour time block. Because it's going to go 2 hours if we don't do that. And like, that's cool and all. But if you really looked at the data, like I guarantee if you got him in, you reeled him in, and then you eased it, I'm still going to push for piff. But if he's still biting back on me, then that would be my downsell tactic, Grayson, just for your context. But you're good, bro. You just like say less a little bit more now and listen a little bit more. And think in your mind next time, oh, here's an I-type. He's going to sell me the whole call on himself. And then in the end, he's going to sell me right off it. So I'm going to just nail him with urgency this whole call. And when you start taking more reps, Grayson, because you have the framework down, you don't need to practice framework anymore. Now it's more like, who is this guy? Getting on. Oh, he's analytical. Great. I'm going to talk numbers. Oh, he's C-type. I got to get him up. I got to build him up and make him realize like this steadiness, this conscientious way of life, this cool, calm, and collect shit isn't getting any money. He's I-type. Oh, he's going to sell me off the call at the end of it. He's D-type. He's going to be but I'm going to check his ass early in discovery, and then he's going to give me money at the end of the call. Start to realize who you're talking to, and then just engineer your calls specifically for them. That is how this is the advanced shit, Grayson. You're starting to dip into advanced type. You can close people now. If you wanted, Grayson, you can close people all day on 1,000, 2,000, 1,000. You want to go close 5Ks, like I know you do, start knowing who you're talking to more.
That's what I've really been focusing on in the last couple of weeks, is studying the disc profile and just picking it up as soon as possible in the call. And then, yeah.
That's why sometimes, this is why I ask for feedback from you guys. Sometimes I in my brain, I like to reverse engineer things. And sometimes I even think this almost comes here, because I feel like you get the process down and then you work on the soft skills afterwards. I'm always in my mind, I'm always thinking like, how does it really work? Because everybody's got their own way to do it. But it is the truth. Like, you got to get the process down, because you'll close like layups and you might be able to push somebody, and maybe they're ready to make a decision that day, or maybe they had the funds to do it. And you'll be an average closer, 20%. You'll do good. But like, you want to get good, close at 40, 50%. You got to work on those soft skills of like the disc profile and tonality, and because all that shit is the way that you get people to make a decision. All the things that I said earlier with the whole like, is it you or your dad? It's not even what I said. If you guys listen, it was kind of like how I said it. It was like, you and I both know. When I say it like that, you and I both know, not you and I both know. It's you and I both know that it's up to you. So who is it going to be that makes the decision? It's going to be you, or it's going to be him? What's up, Solomon?
For S, because that was a really cool one. So for D, you said just like check them early, and then once you have that like respect, eventually they will pay. And then C is just basically this way of life really is not going to make you any money. For S and I, what would you say is like the bullet point?
Yeah, once again, they're gonna sell me this whole call on why they're gonna do it, and then they're gonna try to sell me off why they're not. So I have to get my urgency tie downs really hard, and it's more of an identity tie down. So like with I-type, I would put it as like, you need to get more of like an identity tie down, because they're gonna sell you on like this. They're this big decision maker, this fast actor, and then they're gonna sell you off it. So you got to get these identity tie downs.
So I tied them down, like you said, like in a very D dominant way. Like, are you actually this person? Yeah. So like, call them out on all of this.
I talk to a lot of people that talk about this, and then we get to the end of the call, and these are the exact same people that find every single way of not to make a decision.
Okay. And then for the S types?
S type more, I would say, let me see. Let me get a quick look so I can give you the best answer. Disc, S, steady, reassurance and safety. Yeah. I talk with S types. I would say I talk a lot slower. S types, in my personal opinion, are my least favorite to close. I feel like S types just like are never really successful in general. They're like the 9-to-5ers. They're just like super risk adverse, no matter what you do, corporate style, comfort and security. Once again, identity tie down on, but it's just it's the exact opposite of I. Like S and I are the exact opposite. So you almost need to get the tie downs of like why this comfortability and this risk adverse thinking way of life, this comfortable way of life is a terrible way of life. And it's actually the same reason why they're not making the money they want to make. And
so
the
it's
people
like C and S are kind of.
C, I actually enjoy C because they want like facts and numbers. They're more calculated, they're more analytical. I actually like C because a lot of times C type people, like you'll get a lot of people that are successful. You'll notice they're very D type and very C type. That's how I am now, where I'm like, I get on, like if somebody can't talk high level to me, I can't. So with C types, I've always found that it's very easy to close them when you know your shit. Numbers, raw data, input, output. Like you send this many SMS blasts, our average conversion rate is this. We get this, that turns into this turns into this amount of ROAS, rinse and repeat. That is how I found selling to C type, knowing your numbers and knowing your data.
Yeah, just like very factual to the point.
Very factual and logical.
Okay. All right.
I gotta jump, guys. I'm 11 over, but this is a good call.